We're getting ready to work on our dome. I'm doing the resin eye that I have, and a lot of the resin eyes that are out there, the backs are not exactly the right curve to your dome, so somehow you need to either grind or sand this so it'll fit on the dome. And what I've come up with, you take double stick tape and you take some strips of it and you put it on the dome without overlapping. And then I took and cut strips of sandpaper in about half-inch strips roughly, evenly spaced there. So now that I have an actual surface in the area where the eye is going to go, to be able to sand that curve. And if you look, you can see the curve in the center is a lot. I need to sand the upper and lower more to get to where the curve in the center is. So basically now I've got a surface at the right curve that I can get the resin eye sanded to the correct curve. So let me sand on this a while. You want to make sure that you get even sanding on the top and the bottom until you meet in the center. We'll sand a little bit here and see what we get. But it's hardly touching in the center yet. I think I've got maybe a 1/16 of an inch to go before I even reach the center. I'm going to try to make it even to where it's sanding evenly on the bottom and on the top so that I meet in the center and I don't end up making my eye too thin at the top or too thin at the bottom. There's a lot more meat on the bottom, so my guess is the top might get too thin, so I've got to be careful how I sand it and make sure that I'm sanding evenly. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going in a circular pattern. And just kind of checking it to see how it's sanding. You can see it's sanding along the top there pretty smooth. And a little bit on the bottom. But it looks like I got a long ways to go. Yeah, it looks like it's getting there. We'll keep working on this until we get it. And you can see got a little bit more to go in the center. The top and the bottom are doing alright. And you see it's evenly across the top. So I'm doing pretty good, but I have a little ways to go yet. Like maybe a 32nd of an inch. I'm using 150 grit paper here that I cut in strips. I may need to peel those off and reapply another layer, something that doesn't have as much crud clogging up the grit. Or maybe I can take it out and use the air hose on my compressor and clean it out. And you can use one of those big rubber sticks that they use to clean out sandpaper if you have one of those, or a pencil eraser would work just the same. It grabs the grit out of the sandpaper and cleans the paper. But I've got extra sandpaper, so I'll probably end up just ripping it off, throwing it away, and applying some new. But I'm getting closer here, so we'll keep sanding. I've been sanding for only about maybe 5 minutes so far. It seems that I was applying more to the top as far as how I was holding my hand than the bottom, so I took the radar eye and I turned it upside down and was sanding it like this. And now I'm starting to take more off the top now, so I should be able to get an even sanding here, both from the top and the bottom. So I'm going to try this for a little bit. There's a lot of resin powder coming off this thing, so I am removing quite a bit of material. And we are getting close. Let's take a look here. Off to the side you can see the curve is actually looking very close. I don't want to see any gaps in there, so I'm going to keep going until I have a nice smooth surface all the way around the outside at least. it looks like we're getting a pretty good curve on that. Let's take a look here. I think that fits pretty well. Use my vacuum cleaner. Yeah, see, there's no gap anymore in the center there. The top fits very well. And the other side over here, I have a small gap. So I'll work on that a little more. I think I'm done. I've only spent maybe about 15 minutes on it so far. So it didn't take very long at all. A couple options for my eye here that I'm debating on. I got it mostly sanded. You can see the nice flat surface all the way around the outside. The inside, you're never going to get it all the way to the center, because that is much lower than the outside. But I've got one of these here, which is the smoked eye, which is the normal look. But I also have this camera lens I picked up from somebody at a group meeting somewhere. It gives it rather an interesting look and some depth, so people can kind of look down inside to see what's going on. And it's the inside of a camera lens, and it just fits around the outside, so it's perfect size. There we go. And I could probably attach a camera to the back of it and remotely activate it to take photos, or stick a GoPro on there somehow. But yeah, these are the two choices I have, and I will explore both of them. So maybe I'll have alternate heads, and I'll put the lens on one head and the smoked lens on the other. So next we will work on mounting this, and you have to drill your holes in your aluminum dome and then drill into your eye where you're going to put it, and then epoxy in your bolt that you're going to screw it into to fasten it down. So we'll do that next.